Hello and welcome to the second part of our Total Drama What If series. This part will be going over Eva. Last time was Ezekiel, and if he said his, or what if he didn't say his stupid comment. This time it's what if Heather didn't steal Eva's MP3 player. So let's just get this going. First of all, nothing changes in our first two episodes, including the fact that Ezekiel is still sadly voted out in Not So Happy Campers Part 2, because there's no reason for that to change. But what does change is Heather does in Not So or in The Big Sleep, does not see Eva's MP3 player. Now, Eva is still in a bad mood, and as always, and a lot of people still don't like her, but she does not explode because Heather does not find her MP3 player because she doesn't drop it. Now, this does not change the outcome of the actual challenge, because I feel like Gwen still outlives Duncan, or outsleeps Duncan. That's just obvious. So, when it comes to elimination, we have who's already kind of grouping up. We have Kate. Actually, let's just say who's the bottom three. I think the bottom three are still Eva, Katie, and Sadie. And what I think is, I think Courtney, probably Courtney, Bridget, and maybe Harold. No, I think Courtney and Bridget would both be like, okay, we got to actually get, like, Courtney has a confessional in canon talking about, okay, we need to get Eva out, and Bridget talks to Eva a lot. Plus, there's the whole thing when Eva comes back about Eva wanting to go gun for Bridget. So, yeah, I think these two vote Eva. But I think between all the guys, I think they can deal with Eva. Outside maybe Harold. Harold is kind of debatable, but I think what they don't want to deal with is these two idiots yapping out of their mind, or out of their asses. I don't know where I got mine. So I think maybe Harold, you can say, still votes for Eva, but regardless, I think these four vote for Katie. As for these two, they probably vote for, like, Harold, maybe Eva, but even then, that's a 4-5 vote. So Katie is eliminated, and if you're wondering why it's Katie and not Sadie, that is solely because Katie is the one they go for originally whenever it comes to deciding between the two. This leads us to Dodge Brawl, which, here's the thing with Dodge Brawl. It could not go, like, it would go about the exact same in canon, but it could not go better for the Killer Bass now, because they have Eva, who isn't tired like Duncan. So they might not even, bro, this is about the same time last video I got a Discord notification. But they have basically two Duncans. And I think with that, they pretty easily destroy the Screaming Gophers. And with nothing changing so far on the Screaming Gophers, obviously Noah is still eliminated. I guess we can quickly put together Heather, Lindsay, Beth, Gwen, and Trent. And yeah, that's about that. We can just quickly put that together for simplicity's sake. Then we have Not Quite Famous. The only person that has been eliminated that wasn't eliminated already in canon is Katie. While she didn't get anything, Eva, I think, would try to volunteer to lift an insane amount of weight. And after Bridget breaks Courtney's board, Bridget uses her board and breaks Courtney's violin on accident. I think Bridget still has her shitty performance. I think, who was the other person who had something? I completely forgot. DJ. DJ still has his performance. And I think Duncan, in my last What If, forced Harold to not be the one doing it. But I still think that happens, just instead it's Eva who does that. So I think Eva goes up to try to lift some weights. Then on the Screaming Gophers, we still have Heather go up, we have Justin go up, and we have, who was the last one? Trent go up. So we have these six. And honestly, I think Eva would get a really high score. However, I don't think it would be nearly as high as Harold. So I think what would end up happening is she'd get like an 8 out of 10, and then she'd crash that she didn't get high enough to win it for him. And I think just overall, the Killer Bass would still just barely lose. Now, after this, I think the guys again are probably just gonna like the guys in Eva. I think Duncan comes to Eva and because he knows Eva is in a bad spot, and I think he's like, "Yo, you want an alliance?" And Eva's like, "Sure." So these two are in an alliance. I feel like he'd have a lot of respect for her. The Courtney and Duncan are still having their whole thing going on as well, but Courtney does not like Eva, so yeah, that's important. DJ, Jeff, Tyler. I think at this point, a couple people are starting to like really like. I think Courtney votes Eva, Bridget votes Eva, um, and then I think maybe Harold at this point votes Eva, and Sadie votes Eva. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 votes Eva. However, at this point, with the bros all still being together with freaking Duncan, DJ, Jeff, and then I think they could get Tyler on their side too. I think they instead, also they have Eva, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes, and they decide on just getting the weakest link out. Eva really wants to get Bridget out, but they're like, no, the smarter thing would get to weak link out, and they decide to pretty easily vote out the Depresso Espresso one, who's been depressed and not helping in challenges and just kind of useless, especially in dodgeball. So yeah, Katie and Sadie are already gone, which I'm sure a lot of y'all are happy about. Because of that, though, they cannot get lost in the woods for our next episode. And with Eva probably being good at this challenge, Courtney being good at this challenge, and everyone else pretty much being good at this challenge, except kind of Bridget screwing it up, I think they still win over the Screaming Gophers. Now, on the Screaming Gophers, I think the exact same thing that originally happens in Not Quite Famous happens here. And just like in my Ezekiel prediction, I think what happens is Heather is still able to get Lindsay. She's able to get Beth. She's able to get Owen with the cake, and Izzy because she's crazy, even though it's kind of dumb. Cody still votes for Trent, and because of that, Justin is eliminated in a 5-4-1 vote. So yeah. This leads us to Phobia Factor. In Phobia Factor, Courtney is here as well. Well, Courtney is here and tries to help Duncan through his fear, but of the standee, whatever. And I think he still passes it, but Eva makes fun of him for it, and they have like a friendly argument kind of thing. But like they're still good. Eva is probably to be without her MP3 player for a whole 2 hours, and Eva probably fails, honestly, which is why Duncan's like, all right, we're even now. Who else fails though? Obviously Tyler fails. So, but I think compared to the Screaming Gophers, they still have more failures. Because the only ones I really remember failing on the Screaming Gophers was Cody, and I honestly don't even remember who else. So for Phobia Factor, I think they still decide overall it's best for them to vote out Tyler because his was dumber than the rest, and Eva's just like a less clumsy version of Tyler. So at this point, Courtney's pretty much accepted that Duncan and Eva are like tight, and is actually starting to get kind of jealous of Eva. So she's like, for now, she'll vote with them. So in a with Jeff and Bridget getting closer together, but Eva and Bridget still hating each other, they still all decide to vote out Tyler, not Harold, in Phobia Factor as normal. Then we have Up the Creek. Now, Up the Creek, I still think the Killer Bass win now that they just have such a big physical threat. I still think they win. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, during Phobia Factor, Heather realizes, ooh, okay, I should try to steal Eva's MP3 player because she goes insane without it. But she isn't able to do that yet. She tries to look for an opening this whole episode and is unable to. But once we reach elimination, the Screaming Gophers go. And while it looks like Heather's going to be eliminated, just like in canon, Izzy is chased off by the RCMP. This leads us to Paintball Deer Hunter, where Beth and Lindsay and Heather still have that whole thing, but none of it really matters, because I think what happens is Heather steals Eva's MP3 and blames it on Cody, making Eva storm over to Cody as he's about to get mauled by the bear, beat the crap out of the bear. Cody's like, "Thank you for saving me," and then she beats the crap out of him before realizing that he doesn't actually have it. So this puts her in a bad, in a bad light with a lot of people, but it doesn't matter because Cody goes home in a full body cast, honestly beaten up even worse than he is in canon. And she still, she comes up to Heather, and Heather's like, "Oh, I guess I missaw it, I'm sorry." And Eva's pissed at her, but Heather still has the MP3 player. This leads us to If You Can't Take the Heat. This is our cooking challenge, where honestly, even though Eva is probably a very, very bad cook, the Screaming Gophers still lose this due to just so many things going wrong. They waste so much time with Heather. Owen eats it, and just overall, it looks like it's either going to be Owen or Heather before Heather reveals Beth has her cursed thing from the Up the Creek episode, and Beth is eliminated. Which it would make sense considering they've lost 3 challenges in a row after Beth got this cursed item. This then leads us to Who Can You Trust, our trust exercise episode. In Who Can You Trust, this is originally where Sadie is eliminated. And I think we probably put Duncan and Eva together. Overall, I don't know. I feel like with Eva being on the team, she's too untrustworthy, so I feel like she wouldn't. Yeah, I feel like she wouldn't. She'd cause them to lose. Just overall, I feel like these guys would lose this challenge, and because of that, I think Courtney decides she's gonna try to make her move. Duncan and Courtney have been getting really close and pretty much together at this point. But at this point, Duncan kind of likes Eva and Courtney, but after he finds out from Jeff, because Jeff goes and convinces Bridget, and Bridget and Jeff are close, so Bridget tells Jeff tells Duncan, and Duncan's like, "Oh, fuck that." So Duncan, along with Eva, DJ, and Jeff, all vote out Courtney, and Courtney officially says she hates him and hopes she never sees him again, and Duncan and Eva fist bump. This leads us to Basic Straining. This is the episode where Harold rigs the votes, and honestly, I think he still rigs the votes here because they still lose, but I think Eva always scared him. However, she's not like a jerk to him. She's mainly a jerk to Bridget and was a jerk to Courtney. So unlike Courtney, who was a lot more of a jerk to him, I think Harold instead decides, you know what, I'm going to rig the votes against Duncan. I don't think he would realistically do it against Eva, because the other reason why he did it for Courtney instead is because he wanted to mess with Duncan's love life, and at this point, Eva is not the kind of person who would get with somebody on a show like this. So they're like, she won't admit it, but she has a crush on him. So he rigs the votes against Duncan. Duncan is eliminated, and Eva swears revenge on her entire team because she obviously is too dumb to think of the fact that somebody might have rigged the votes. So yeah, Duncan is eliminated in Basic Straining, and they share a kiss right as they leave. As Eva's getting mad, Duncan just walks up and kisses her, and she's like, "Oh my," and then calms down a little bit. And Harold in confessional says, "Man, maybe I should have rigged it towards Eva." This leads us to Extreme Torture, where the same thing happens with Harold seeing Heather's breasts, and when we hit elimination, I think this is where Bridget and Harold decide to team up and finally convince Jeff and DJ. At this point, Duncan isn't here, so can we please, for the love of the Lord, just get Eva out of here? And the four of them oblige, with DJ and Jeff being really good buddies, Jeff and Bridget obviously being boyfriend-girlfriend, and Harold having the bullying die down from these two. While it's tiled up from Eva. So this leads us to our brunch of disgustingness, where we have 5 boys versus 5 girls. And I think we actually still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how this keeps happening. But yeah, we have these 5 girls and these 5 guys. Now, something that I just realized is really, really funny is these are the exact same 5 guys and 5 girls as when I did the Ezekiel one. Obviously, a lot of this elimination order has changed, but that's just a really funny coincidence. And because of that, I still think the guys win this. But this is not where we end our video. I believe that since Eva made it so far, she's still considered a fan favorite, but I don't think Chris would bring her back literally like 2 episodes after she got eliminated. So Izzy still returns, but I actually think if we're just going by the logic of a fan favorite who's eliminated early, I think realistically he would want to go with eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm gonna choose... Realistically, I feel like in the Total Drama universe, it would be Tyler. So I think Tyler is brought back for this, and Lindsay's very happy about that, and Heather doesn't mind because that's another vote for them, replacement Beth. And now, since they're not on different teams, it doesn't matter if they kiss as much as they do. So, yeah, in No Pain, No Gain, though, we do have a interesting result where I think the final 2 would come down to Lashana versus Tyler. By the way, while I'm talking about this, I'm going to be setting up our alliances. But we have Lashana versus Tyler, where I think Tyler would have a massive, really funny wipeout. But I don't think that he would get eliminated here because it's not Eva. So these 3 are here. I think, what else do we have? We have DJ, Jeff, Bridget, and I think Harold is probably at least in good merits with Bridget and Jeff. However, he also had the big thing with Lashana. So they are together now. And then Owen and Izzy are at the end. And while I think it's between Heather and Izzy. So what I think realistically happens is these 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, let me move these guys. These 4, I think realistically vote Heather, but honestly, now that I think about it, Heather might try to put more blame on Izzy, and these 3 vote Izzy, but I don't think there's a way Heather can really get out of this. So in No Pain, No Gain, Heather is eliminated, and Lindsay's like, now it can just be her and her boyfriend. So yeah, there goes Heather in a very early thing. Then we have Search and Do Not Destroy. Now, this is a weird one for me. Originally in this episode, this is where Heather kisses Trent, but with no Heather, that doesn't happen. Also originally in this episode, I think the producers very obviously gave the main antagonist that thing, like in universe. I think that definitely happened. There's no way that was random. So I don't think that would happen in this universe. So I'm actually going to pull up a random number generator, and we got hold on, can't spell. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people here. So we have 11, and we got 3. So Gwen wins immunity here. Yeah, Gwen wins. So I think between Gwen, Trent, Lashana, and Harold, with nobody getting mad at Trent, as well as Harold being good with these people, I think all of them decide now that Lindsay's not a threat and not being controlled by Heather, she can just be with her boyfriend and be happy. They just decide, we'll get Izzy out of here because Izzy is a huge challenge threat and just overall a pretty big annoyance. So Izzy is eliminated in Search and Do Not Destroy. Then we have Hide and Be Sneaky. Now for Hide and Be Sneaky, I don't really know who gets eliminated here. This was the one with Bridget getting out, but because of Duncan. But just like in my Ezekiel video, Duncan isn't here to do something like that. So I think realistically, with this mega alliance of Gwen, Trent, Lashana, Harold, DJ, Jeff, and Bridget, this freaking mega alliance, I think they just go for the next person. They'll let these two be happy for a little longer. They just go for the next person and take out Owen. So Owen kind of just gets cooked. Yeah, everyone likes Owen. Well, actually, now that I think about it, everyone likes Owen. Everyone likes Owen, and Lindsay was Heather's thing, so I think they actually go for Lindsay here. Because everyone likes Owen way too much for them to do something like that. So, yeah, I think it ends up coming down to Lindsay or Tyler, and they choose Lindsay because she's a bigger... She's a bigger annoyance being with Heather for so long. So yeah, this brings us to That's Off the Chain, which is a very interesting episode because we don't have Lindsay, who's the really, really good one. Now, originally our top two were Owen and Duncan. But I think in this universe we have Trent here now, we have Harold here now, we have Tyler here now. I think this is Tyler's episode to shine. He blows through all the competition and gets through the finish line first. But I don't think he's the only one. I think Duncan ain't here. Why did I say Duncan? I meant I think Trent would be a good enough biker dude to make it through. I think Trent would make it through as well, and everyone else would just kind of get weared down. Harold, where I said in the last video, and then everyone else as they get in canon. But I think Trent barely makes it. He'd be good enough, and sadly, that means by bullshit standards, Trent is eliminated, and that's off the chain. Now we have Hook, Line, and Screamer. And again, with no Heather here, just like my last video, with no Heather here, I think it's actually still Harold. Because I think DJ would have a bad scare, the second worst, but I think Harold would get eliminated for some very stupid scare, just like in the Ezekiel one. Tyler is a contender for he'd probably be in the top or the bottom three worst scares. So, but I don't think he'd be the worst. Then we have Wawanakwa Gone Wild. This is the time when who gets eliminated here originally? I do not remember at all. DJ, and then Gwen wins immunity. Yes, so DJ gets eliminated here for... Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. DJ gets eliminated in the... Oh, I'm on the wrong... Okay, my bad. I was like, wait a second. That is not how that happened. Hold up. This is originally when Izzy gets out. And, yeah, okay, my bad. This is when Izzy gets out. But with this Mega Alliance, albeit being a lot smaller, Lashana and Gwen realize, especially with Gwen having immunity, she's ready to take a little bit of a riskier move. They realize these three are just gonna take them, just get rid of them. Plus, these two both just lost their levers, so they think it's unfair that these two have theirs. So while they're still buddies, especially Gwen and Bridget, I think they end up convincing Tyler and Owen to come on their side, and the four of them debate between the three. Gwen doesn't want to get out Bridget, and feels bad about getting out her boyfriend, but I'm going to use the same logic as in canon, and Gwen will be up for it since she hasn't had her episode getting close with Jeff yet, which is Jeff is the biggest social threat, and they think it's a vote, so at the end, so they get him out. DJ is another contender for being a huge physical threat, but I don't think that would happen. Bridget is pissed at Gwen. Then we have the trial by tri-arm triathlon. And for this one, none of the canon teams are here. So instead, I think Chris would definitely do Gwen and Bridget, who are not on good terms. I think he would also realistically do Lashana and Tyler, and then maybe like this, because I think yeah, that looks about right, because these two have very conflicting personalities, and he's all wild, he's all like shy and kind. But I think overall, Lashana and Owen pretty easily win immunity here. And this is where Jeff is voted out. But I think it's kind of obvious that Gwen feels incredibly bad for voting out Jeff. So, but she's not going to betray her current peeps, because that would just be stupid. So she decides, okay, we'll just get out DJ for being a huge physical threat. And they move on. Then we have the bullshit episode, with Katie and Sadie both being eliminated even earlier than they are in canon. I think Lashana still gets cooked. Sorry. Hot Camp Short is where Lashana will always get eliminated until we get to her thing, how she could have fixed it. Then we have Camp Castaways. And this is the episode where nobody gets eliminated, but I actually think this is where Gwen and Bridget make up. Gwen really needs to make up after Lashana got booted. And Bridget is just starting to forgive her because she's had enough time to think about it. So they make up in this episode, and Owen and Tyler are just idiots. Owen goes insane as well. Just again, this leads to Are We There Yeti? And now that Gwen and Bridget are on good terms, they destroy these two dumbasses. This would be such an easy episode for them. And I think when Chef is deciding who he thinks should be the person eliminated, he thinks it should be Tyler, because Tyler was a lot worse in the challenge and also doesn't deserve a win, considering he literally got eliminated so early originally. He doesn't think people who come back should win. Same here. That's why Amelie shouldn't win DC4. Anyways, that has nothing to do with this. But we get to I Triple Dog Dare You, where I think Gwen and Bridget will try to team up on Owen. They like Owen, but they just do. And I think Gwen and Bridget would not be able to outbeat Owen, because Owen has done some disgusting shit. So I think eventually Bridget, who has a very low tolerance, gets here, gets out here just like last time, meaning our final two is Gwen and Owen, just like in canon. But I feel like in this version, Gwen would be the canon winner. Yes, that means no party, but that doesn't matter to this. And I feel like Gwen now having even more stuff to do with like Bridget, Lashana, stuff like that, and Owen having even less stuff to do with Izzy getting out earlier and just stuff like that, I think Gwen would be the canon winner here. But that's going to do it for this episode of Total Drama What If. Whoa, that was a weird stutter. For some reason, this was really similar to freaking the Ezekiel one, with Bridget still getting third, Gwen still being a finalist, Duncan still getting out right here. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope to catch y'all in the next one, where we will be doing Noah. Alright, bye y'all.